Welcome to the Sit and Chat 612, where we discuss weekly topics. Disclaimer, these are our opinions and our life experiences, and plus we've been around the block a few times. My name is Sherrick.
My name is Tony.
My name is DeAndre.
And today's topic, we're going to give a little history and story about ourselves, about what we think are our insecurities, not necessarily somebody put them off on us, but how we feel and how we felt like we've overcome them. So, who wants to?
Before we go into it, Good Vibes Barbershop. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need some haircuts. You know what I'm saying? We laying them out over here. Don't play no games. Dre, tell them about it.
Hey,
One of the coldest men in America. No, but if you guys need haircuts, barbershop, Good Vibes Barbershop, 6018 Nicollet Avenue, South Minneapolis. So if you come into town and you need a cut, go over my website, goodvibesbarbershop.com, book your appointment from there. I only do appointments. I don't do walk-in. Nobody do walk-in no more. Book an appointment, that way you get in and you get your full 30 minutes. You won't have to sit and wait. We're going to get you good. Okay, go ahead.
all right.
Okay, so who wants to start about what they felt like their insecurity is?
Well, since y'all looking at me, so my insecurity, which I'm sure people have heard, is that I stutter. According to my mother, I have been stuttering since I could talk. I don't really remember my earlier days when I was, stuttering, but I know growing up, there were times where I was actually bullied for it, but it's just about being comfortable with myself. Now my stuttering is a mixture of two things, where it's like I'm thinking about the next 18 things I want to say while I'm already talking, and then it has something to do with my breathing, because I tend to.
Is that what hangs you up, because you're already pre-thinking what you're going to say?
Yeah, while I'm already talking.
Not hang up, but like, is that where the other when you start stuttering is because you're already thinking what you're going to say?
Yes, but I'm already thinking while I'm already talking. So it's like I'm talking, but then like my brain is like, oh yeah, these next 16 things. So, but then also my breathing too, where it's like I tend to try to talk when I've already exhaled and I don't really have air, but I'm still like, I need to get this out, but my body's like, no, you need to breathe and take time. So, for me, the insecurity comes from, because I still have moments where I'm like, what are people going to think about this? But I quickly get over it. I'm like, it's just part of who I am. And I have taken speech classes before, which has made it better, and that's how I knew it was a lot of my breathing, because like we would do breathing techniques where I would take a deep breath in and then talk.
So when you was doing that, did it like flow out better?
Yeah, I would definitely say it definitely helped, and it did get better. But then like once I started doing it, it did kind of get worse, but it's kind of steady to a point where it's like it's manageable.
Do you feel like it kept you like quiet, just like growing up, like when you didn't want to talk?
Yeah, because a lot of people will always tell me like, oh yeah, you're very quiet, but that was because of that. But also, I'm more of a visual learner too, I watch. But that was a big part of it, was not wanting to talk,
right? Because
of that, like, okay. Because back then, kids laughed, like, "Oh, no, what's that?" Or so it did keep me from wanting to speak out.
So it kept you in a shell.
Yeah.
So I know you talked about being a kid and stuttering. So how do you think, since you said that you're out on the dating scene, how do you feel like that affects your dating life?
I find myself kind of pre-prepping the person, like I'll make sure to let them know before we go out, like, oh hey, I stutter, which I think is also a little bit of the insecurity. Because I feel like I have to let them know before we go out, so they don't think of me in a different light. But I feel like I need to stop doing that and just go and have them experience me as me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
So do you feel like they have patience
Yeah.
or have had patience?
Yeah. Now, one thing that I feel like has always slightly bugged me growing up, but like I try not to, think about it too much. But it's like growing up, whenever I would tell somebody about my stuttering, like I always hear the generic response, like, "Oh, I know somebody that stuttered too."
Yeah.
And I feel like it's generic, but I'm like, maybe they do. No, but but I'm like, I always feel like, what are you just saying that because you trying to make me feel better? Like,
Right.
I guarantee you they probably know someone, because I can think of 2 people off the top of my head.
right.
So they probably know someone, and it probably don't affect. It probably don't even bother them. It probably bother you more because you're in your head about it.
Yeah.
I can relate to you because growing up I stuttered too. So like for me, like I didn't like talk. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but I stuttered too, just like because I talk fast sometimes and I don't enunciate. So like a lot of times when I'm talking, like I had to take a deep breath and then slow down, and I had to gather my thoughts before I talk, because if I don't, I stutter. Like I used to stutter like bad, but as I grown up, I feel like I grew out of it. But I still stutter every now and then, but that's also because like my mind be going a mile a minute. You know what I mean? I'll be trying to get everything out that I'm gonna say. That's why sometimes you'll see me jumping around here and there. But yeah, I can relate to you too. So I stay quiet because I'm like, I ain't want nobody to judge me, you know what I mean, on me stuttering. You know what I mean? And plus I didn't enunciate, so like certain words that I say, it'd be like, it won't be, I want to enunciate the word, or I want to say the word properly, or I say the word wrong. And then one thing I do hate when people correct me. You know what I mean? I don't hate it.
Boy, it's in my head right now to correct you.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm like, I talk how I talk. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I can relate to you on that too.
There were some things growing up that I didn't like, where like people would kind of finish my sentence for me, but now like I actually appreciate that because it helps me get through that block.
Right. Yeah.
Because back then, like I was always like, why you trying to tell me or trying to tell me what my next word is, but now I'm like, cool, but as far as me being an adult, what I feel like surprises me is that when I rap, I don't stutter. When I have to like speak at weddings, because I have been in a couple weddings where like people want me to speak, and I always am like, okay, what if I stutter, right? But like my friends and my mom, they always tell me like, when you're up there, you don't stutter, or you might stutter like maybe once or twice.
Right. So
like, but my mom had mentioned that it might be because like I think of it as like me performing. So because like,
or is it already written out and you know what you're saying?
No, because I always stress about what I'm gonna say, and I'm always just like, just go and speak whatever is from your heart, or whatever comes to your mind naturally, and it always works out, because I always be like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna write down? So like, I don't write anything down. When it comes to that, so yeah, that always surprises me. When I'm reading, I don't really do it. Like I might start off, but it's very much flowing. So it's almost like there's a different part of the brain that I'm using that's not speech. Because like when you're rapping, like it's with music. It's when you're standing in front of people. Like I don't have a problem being in front of people and speaking. Which you would.
That's
think
what I was just about to ask you. So, is it because you're uncomfortable in front of people? But you just said that you're not. But so, how do you feel like it's gotten you through to where you at today about it?
Well, there's this weird mixture. It's like I am uncomfortable speaking in front of people, but I can do it.
Right.
And that I think comes from when I was younger. My mom would always put me and my younger brother in like church plays. So it's like I didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was pushed to do it, but
exactly.
also I feel comfortable performing. Like
right.
Because even with like something like dancing, it's like I be looking out in the crowd. I'm like, I don't want to dance in front. I'm nervous, but I can still do it. If that makes sense. So, what I think has helped me was my mother kind of putting us in a position to where we can perform and be comfortable in front of people.
Exactly.
Oh, nice story. So, are you next, Anthony, or you want me to go?
I can go.
All right.
I would say my insecurities growing up was learning for me was difficult. You know what I mean? In the sense of where I learned different from most. Like, and I could say like a scenario when me going to barber school and so me going to barber school and as far as like I would say the book part, I'm the type of person like I like to study ahead of time. So my first couple of months in barber school, my first 5 months in barber school, like I was in the books, I was in the classroom most of the time, and I was just studying because I know how I learned. But when I was younger, I didn't. I felt like younger back when I was younger, people would say, "Oh yeah, he's slow" and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then as I got older, it's just like everybody learned different. So my learning, like I like to study ahead of time. So
I wish people would stop putting that stigma on people, like because everybody don't learn the same.
Exactly.
And I think like when they're teaching, like everything has to be like one way. Just like during the pandemic when the teacher was teaching Antonia how to do something, I'm like, I don't know how to do it that way. So I revert back to what I do.
exactly.
And it's the same answer.
Yeah.
So like, why isn't education like that?
Right. Yep. So yeah. So I just learned, I learned my way. So it's like being in school, I struggle with it in school because like I felt like nobody took the time. I mean, as I got older, I got better. But in school it was hard for me because I kept myself away from people because it was like an insecurity for me, and then low self-esteem, you know what I mean? So it's just like I would say.
You think the low self-esteem was from the learning part?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well. Yeah. That was the main thing because I feel like people was gonna prejudge me because of like I don't pick up like most students. You know what I mean? So it's just like that was one of my things that kind of kept me quiet and kept me in my shell. But I knew what I was good at. When I was young, I was really good at drawing, like really good at drawing, and I got good at dancing. You know what I mean? So I stopped looking at my weaknesses and started focusing on what I was good at. And then, but I felt like as I got older, me working on my weaknesses, you know what I mean, by reading and like really, I would say being aware of my weaknesses, helped me get better. And I had a couple of people in my life that kind of, helped me get by, sat with me and helped me go through things and stuff like that. So I would say, as far as like, I would not only just my learning, I would say my stuttering too. Like I used to stutter bad, so it's just like I didn't like to talk to people. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like for me, when it comes to that point, me stuttering, I feel like I have to just sit back and just take a deep breath and like gather my thoughts. You know what I mean? And sometimes like I also be all over the place, and I kind of be feeling like I never was diagnosed with like ADD, but sometimes I'd be like, and I have to be like, okay, Tone, calm down and gather your thoughts.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that learning for me was hard. Learning growing up for me was hard. But back to taking my test, like I studied the first 5 months. After that first 5 months, I was like, okay, I'm comfortable. I know I'm gonna pass my test. So then I started focusing on being out on the floor, cutting more. So I kind of already knew how to cut black hair when I went in there, but I learned how to cut all textures being in barbershop.
Ooh, baby. You know, it used to take you 2 hours to cut a head.
Yeah, it did. But I was gonna get you right.
Right.
I was gonna get you out cut, but you gonna leave out of that Photoshop.
Right. You feel me? You're talking about your learning. Like what kind of learner would you say you are? Like I know you said you like to, you need to study more ahead of time. But is there another way that you learn that's different for example, I'm more of a visual learner.
Yeah.
Like in a hands-on. So like, if I'm watching you do it, and if I'm doing it and you're showing me, then I can learn it.
Yeah.
Like a quick story, like when I was in school, like when I was taking, I had to take algebra. Horrible at it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I took geometry. It's about shapes and stuff. It's visual. Did very good in that. So I'm like, it's just something about seeing the shapes.
Yeah. So I think for me, off of what you were saying, I'm a visual learner too. Like, and it's just like, if you break it down to me a few times, then I'll catch it. Versus like, in a sense of like, how other people learn. Like I know cats that took their test in a barber school like a month before the test and they passed it. And I'm like, I don't work like that. So I'm a visual learner. So if you can break it down for me a few times and I'm like, okay, I get it. Because algebra I was pretty decent at. You know what I mean? I was pretty decent at. And
dang, you got loud.
Because I was confident in it. I was confident in it.
Algebra.
I was decent.
Right.
It just for me, reading for me was hard because I stuttered, so I didn't like reading. And I don't like, even like now, I get anxiety when I'm reading in front of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like I say, like I just didn't like it because I stuttered. You know what I mean? So, and that was one of those insecurities. But like also too with you, like I had this teacher, and he was one of them cats. Like he was like, man, like you a normal person to me. So whatever, how all these other kids think. Like, you just learn different, you know what I mean? And he kept on pushing that in my head, you know what I mean? Because I was really, like, down about that. Like, man, like, I should beat myself up about it, you know what I mean? And I had a few teachers that kept me on track. Like, dude, like, you just learn different. That don't mean you know different than other people.
Right.
And then, like, as I got older, I got better, you know what I mean? But I would say I still have anxiety on certain things, you know what I mean? But what helped me, I used to shy away from it, but I make myself do it just because I would say growing up there's a lot of stuff that was hard for me, so I would give up on it, like, oh man, I ain't gonna do that. That's too hard, or I don't understand it, or I don't comprehend it, so I'm just not gonna do it. And I did that so much where I'm like, at some point you're gonna have to face your weaknesses. So me just like, man, whatever, I don't care what people think. That also helped me too, not worrying about what other people think of me. You know what I mean? So
do you feel like, one thing that I've always wanted to ask you, do you have a problem or a fear of performing in front of people? Like for example, when it comes to your, break-in and stuff, do you get that anxiety, or is it just so natural to you?
I would say, no, it's natural to me with that because I know I'm confident in.
Because remember, he said he perfected that.
Yeah.
That was one of his strong points, dancing.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. But like when we do like when we perform, when me and you perform at like Guthrie, we perform at the Korean festival.
Y'all, he throwing out names so y'all can know he really was about that life.
Target Center. hey, we was doing stuff way before everybody else.
People know. I mean, we performed at the Guthrie, Walker's Art, Korean Festival, Patrick Cabaret. And I was confident I was really confident in dancing. You know what I mean? So it's just like but I do get anxiety and I do get nervous when the camera's on me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like when attention's on me and people expecting you to dance, like I dance weird. But like when the music, when I kind of block out the people, even performing, like it's been performances where I just like I mess up, but the only person know was me, you, Jazz, and Jake.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was one big performance.
Well, that was the group. Who else was supposed to know that you messed up?
You know what I mean?
We didn't know the routine.
Yeah, but sometimes when I'm performing and like attention's on me, even with like reading and attention's on me, I get nervous. But once I get into it, I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Everything get to flowing.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, so what makes you how do you think you've overcome some of that now?
I feel like I overcome it by just working on it.
Okay.
On it, you know what I mean? Working on it. Yeah, just pretty much working on my weaknesses. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you see them as weaknesses, or do you feel like this is something that I can just get better with? Because I feel like sometimes having a mindset that it's a weakness can kind of make you feel like
It's a weakness.
Right.
Because you have accomplished a lot.
Yeah. But that's also too with accomplishing things that help me also feel better, because it's like, you know, more and more things I accomplish, more and more confidence I gain in myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and it was like, it's funny, I'm gonna tell you this, man. It was people in school, like when I was in, you know, just growing up in school, people used to talk about me like a dog. And then it's a few people that actually even came to the shop and didn't see me and was like, man, you got a shop and blah blah blah. And then same people that was talking about me are the same people asking me questions about how to open up a business.
Right.
How did you go about this and how did you go about that? And it's like, in my mind, like my kid side be like, wanna like,
right.
yeah, and I ain't sorry for saying that, but like,
You know, you have to bleep that out.
okay. But yeah, like, you know, I'm the teacher now. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, kind of felt like the Antoine Fisher thing. You know what I'm saying? But you know, even though, like, just bringing up that situation, him coming in here, I cut his kid, and you know, he gave me a good review on, you know what I'm saying, on Google as well, which not that I didn't think he was gonna do it, but we had a real cool conversation too, and I think him coming in and seeing me and talking to me, he got a different perspective from me. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm pretty sure he was just like, man, you know, I didn't, you know, Tom really a really cool dude. You know what I mean? So, you know, so yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm next, and I don't know if it's a insecurity, but what I'm listening to you two, which makes me think like more people are like this and no one is saying it.
Yeah.
Not that I felt like I had, because I wasn't in any like learning disability classes. It's that people learn differently, and some of it might be the way that people teach.
Yeah.
And it's not throwing shade towards anybody, but my thing always was, and look, my sister is super smart, and my sister is cute, okay? I'm not discrediting any of that because it had nothing to do with her, because she didn't say it to me.
Right.
It was the way people would be like, oh, this is the pretty sister, or this is the smarter sister,
Right.
and this sister gonna do X, Y, and Z, as if you're not right there
Right.
saying it to a child who done took all of this in. So I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine. Like, she's cute, like she's smart, but I have stuff to offer too.
You fine too though.
Thank you, baby.
You gotta be like,
But yeah, so like I feel like that was like what was part of it. And I feel like when people say stuff to you like that when you're younger, like it hinder you than what it would have been with you growing up with whatever that insecurities that you had already to begin with. Because I felt like we were equal and it was like a equal playing field. But then when you have adults saying this to you, then I feel like that's what the problem is. So then it's like it's always stuck in your head, like I can't do this or I can't do that, and then like you just don't try because you've been told like you can't.
Right.
So like then you don't, and I feel like now that I think about it, I don't know. Ouch! I don't know if we've ever done this. Like I don't because I have like a big problem with people telling kids that they're stupid or they're dumb and you just don't get it. Like that bugs me. And not that I was called dumb or stupid, but I've heard people say that, and it's not that they're dumb or stupid, they just don't understand. Like they're not comprehending like what it is. And I felt like maybe that was me, you know what I mean? Like not dumb, just not comprehending what it is.
Right.
Or like, and then like I know I wasn't the most popular, but like when people would say like, oh, so and so was dating you and we just thought that was super cool, and you like, me? Like I was a nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I lived with my grandma who wouldn't let us go anywhere or do anything. So what made me special? You know,
Right.
like what? Oh, okay. I didn't know that was going on in school.
Did you feel like you was nobody in school?
Not that I was a nobody, but I wasn't one of the popular ones.
Right.
Like, you know how everybody have like their own little clique? We had our clique, but my clique used to get out and do stuff and could do stuff because they were able to out. And their parents was younger. With us, on the other hand, we lived with my grandma, so like we couldn't do anything.
Right.
Like, yes, you could play some sports, and yes, you can go to that game that you was playing, but anything else other than that, you was at church at revival. Like I feel like we missed out like on a lot of stuff. So then when it was time to get into the world, like we didn't know anything.
Right.
And then coming from small town to like city, like you absolutely don't know anything because that's two different playing fields. So then you be like, oh, I'm thrown into this and I can't tell you what I'm about to do. Made a whole bunch of mistakes, but you learn from your mistakes.
Do you think if your grandma was a little bit more lenient towards y'all things would have went better, or how do you?
Better? I don't know about better, but I think we would have had way more life experience.
Okay.
Like we would have known like what to be looking for, or knowing that this person is taking advantage of you or trying to manipulate you into something.
So did you feel sheltered back then?
I absolutely was sheltered.
So you guys didn't like go outside or anything?
We could go outside, but we couldn't go past the driveway.
Right. Okay.
It was that type of thing.
You think that was just a down south thing?
No, it was a her thing.
Oh, okay.
Like our street was like full of kids, and majority of them are our relatives. You know what I mean? We could not go.
The only reason why
They could come to our house, but we couldn't go to theirs.
The only reason why I said that because I got a few clients where they said, I ain't gonna name no names, but I know a guy from Atlanta, and he would say like we have to be in the house when the street lights come on, and like,
I thought that was everybody because people from Chicago say that.
Yeah. We could do the same thing, but the reason why I had asked that is because like we used to have bikes and we could ride downtown,
No.
right? But we still had to be back by a certain time.
No, you want to know what's funniest? Because we're not like we wasn't in like the middle of the our house wasn't in the middle. It was like at the end, like it was like another house in ours at the end.
Right.
We can go to that side, to the stop sign, but that's because she could see us. But you can only go to the stop sign and then back. Go up further? Absolutely not. Like she wasn't going. Like we couldn't do that at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very strict. Not that it was strict to where we had to wear like a skirt and like church stuff all the time, but it was like super strict.
So you don't think that was her just trying to keep y'all protected for certain things?
Possibly, but I also feel like it was maybe because her kids had messed up or did some stuff, and not to say that she wasn't strict with them, but we got what they did like 10 times, so we couldn't do what they did. Although I did like other stuff, I was sneaking around and stuff, but I feel like that was because she wouldn't let us do anything. If you let people do stuff, then they could do it. But
I knew you was sneaky.
Oh really?
Yeah, you definitely sneaky.
Oh, am I?
No,
But that's the thing though, when it comes to raising your kids, it's like you have to have a good balance of like not being strict, but like having the boundaries, but also letting them go and explore, so then they won't feel like they have to be sneaky.
right.
Yeah, like that's one of them. So I guess like that was my insecurity, but not really an insecurity, but it was stuff that I had to deal with growing up, because I also felt like you couldn't tell me nothing because our last name was Ganaway and Johnson. Okay, I'm a McCray too, but we all think we fine. Like you can't tell us that we not, and I feel like every last one of them will tell you that too.
Right.
So like it's just in our DNA, like we that stuff. Even if nobody else thought it, we did. So yeah, that's where I think our confidence come from. Because if you notice, if you talk to any of my sisters, they feel the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know about my brother, but we most definitely feel like that. You can't tell us that we're not.
Tom, did you have that confidence going on when it came to your looks? Like you're like, I know I'm fine.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't, because I was short. I was skinny. You know what I mean? And I didn't have that I didn't have that confidence. I think as I got older, it came. But that, like I say, that's me just being confident in what I was good at.
That's because you got a fine wife on the side of you.
But one thing.
He didn't answer
You just skipped over anyway.
You know you fine. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got with me. I was fine too.
Okay.
But I think I lost train of thought. I'm trying to gather real quick. I knew I was funny.
Yeah.
I knew I was funny, so that was like, I was like, well, if I'm ugly, people think I'm funny, or you know what I mean. cool and laid back. So but as I got older, I was like, I'm that dude. When I got her, I was like, yeah. You feel me?
That's one of the things that my mom has always instilled in us growing up. She would always be like, "You think you cute, don't you?" And we always be like, "Yeah." And she always say, "That's good, because like as long as you know that, then you don't need anybody else to tell you that. You know, like as long as you believe that, you're good."
Yep.
So my mom like, "Yeah, your mom cute." Huh? I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you cute, mom." But it's just that, like that confidence that you need to have in yourself.
Yeah. So then, like on one level, it's like I might feel down here because someone have said something, but then on the other end, like you can't tell me that I'm not that. You know what I mean? So I guess to sum it up, like do what works for you, and like, and I get like when kids are younger, like it don't work like that. But as adults, we need to be mindful of what we say to kids.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
I want to say, if there is anybody out there who stutters, you can ask questions. You know, just how I got through mine is just you just have to be confident in yourself and not try to worry about what other people may think. Because I still go through that, you know, time and time again, where it's like I'm worrying about what somebody may think, but then I quickly have to get through that where I'm like, you know, it's me. You know, and people are always going to pick up on that energy of you being you, and they're going to accept that. You know, because I've had a lot of friends, even through like high school and middle school, where they know I stutter, but they have gotten so used to it now where they don't even notice it.
Right.
You don't
as
notice
some people
it.
say.
But I just want to know, was that your encouraging words?
Yeah, sure. You know, if my encouraging words. If you are stuttering, like I said, like you can ask me questions. You can just ask people who you hang around, and really just sit down and have the conversation. Which I always say, you need to be able to have conversations with your friends. And I'm not talking about, it doesn't have to always be like a jokey. You know, like you can really sit down, like, hey, I really want to talk about this. You know, and if they're really your close friends, they will really tell you how they feel, and they'll be upfront with you.
That is true. So my encouraging words are, no matter what you do in life and where you at in life, you can overcome anything. I was going to say this too, but I guess I kind of forgot. So when people say that you have to make a certain amount of money or whatever is successful to you in life, your success will look different than anyone else's. And be you. I think I've said that before. Be you. Don't let nobody discourage you. Even if you feel like you can't get it at that moment, you might get it at the next moment. That might not be your moment. The next moment might be yours. Shine through whatever it is. Forget what other people say, because everybody have an opinion, and the only one that matters is yours.
I guess my words of encouragement is, and the only reason why I say this, because I feel like everybody is different. Everybody's on different levels. So I would say, stay on your level, man. You know, focus on you. Like, I feel like there's too many people out of here, you know, viewing other people's lives and in other people's lives, watching, you know, social media, TV and stuff like that. You know, everybody's different, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people not living as good as they make it seem on TV, you know, or social media, you know what I mean? So it's just like, be true to yourself, be real with yourself, and also focus on you. You know what I mean? Do what you, take care of things you got to take care, and stay on your level. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about what other people doing. You know, focus on you. Do what you need to do. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. So that's my words of encouragement.
And on that end, sit and chat 612.